but
especially since you're interviewing like people you know.
Yeah, it's more like relatable. And
it's relatable, and it's like pretty interesting because like I feel like you get like you know the people, so you're like still learning about what they haven't told you yet.
Right, totally. Yeah, so it's like a real life conversation instead of something that's like manufactured.
Yeah, like with Griff, like I watched that one, and I'm like, I never thought he'd feel the way that like people just think he's like a meathead.
Yeah,
right. And I'm like,
right.
I've known he's a smart kid because we played football together.
Yeah.
But it was like I didn't know that he felt that way about people like thinking like always asking them like what his PRs are and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Instead
it's
of,
like you don't think about
what he likes to do.
No, you're totally right, dude. But all right, that was a great way to start. But what's up, guys? Welcome back to Uncommitted Podcast. This is I'm really excited for this episode because it's about social media with Gavin Bly. If you guys don't know Gavin, I mean, you guys will know what's the word New Hampshire, or what's the word 603? Is it 603?
Yeah, it's what's the word 603?
What's the word 603? It's a huge account. It's like over 12K.
Yeah.
Now, right? I mean, and that was, you got like over 10K in like less than a year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking,
it was
pretty
great
sick.
growth.
I remember when you first
awesome.
made it, I was like, oh, this is like a smart idea because it's just something that we didn't have.
Yeah.
Right? New Hampshire high school, and it was like, you filled the perfect gap, and everybody wants to watch. And you had videos that went kind of viral and stuff. Like I remember the Exeter Alvern one. That was a fucking big deal. People were beefing in the comments. And
that
stuff.
was insane. That was a pretty great one.
Yeah, but yeah, dude. So I mean, I just really want to talk about. We can just talk about like what's the word and how you built that. So if you want.
So I really got into social media my sophomore year of high school. Connor Kendrigan showed me, like, he talked to me about drop shipping and stuff like that.
Right.
And I started my own store, and I was DMing these Instagram pages to promote my products. And I was looking at that, I'm like, wow, like they just get people asking them like to promote their products. So they don't really have to go out there, find products, build the site, put into money. And I'm like, I really like admire that, and I honestly think I should do that instead. So I did Shopify for a little bit.
Yep.
I had a store. I made like a couple $100, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to make my own niche page.
Yeah.
And at the time, my friend Matt Canfield, you know him.
Yeah, I know Matt.
He showed me this page that someone told me about like a year before, which was what's the word mass.
Right.
And it was I loved their page and I loved what they were doing, and they were so big that they got to the point of they didn't expand right at the time. And I'm like, why isn't there something in New Hampshire? I started looking around. Why isn't there something in Maine, like anywhere else?
Right.
And there was nothing else. So I'm like, why don't I just do it? Because
just
in
fill the gap.
my head, I'm like, if anyone could do it, I could, because that was my mindset, and that's the
Right,
confidence I had in myself to be able to complete it.
That's what you need.
And
it's all about that confidence.
You were in my American Studies class.
Yeah.
I think every single day. I'm so glad I had that class, man. Because if
class.
I didn't have that class, I probably wouldn't have gotten anything done.
Yeah.
Like with what's the word 603.
Yeah, no, I know.
I didn't get any work done.
Exactly what you mean.
I didn't get any work done, but I got so much done with what I was
every day. Yeah.
what I was really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And I worked on that page every single day, and I think you saw that quite a bit. There was not a day where I didn't stop working on it. I didn't stop trying to teach myself how to know the Instagram algorithm and just social media in general.
Yeah.
And
it's a world, dude. It's a whole world. Yeah.
So in the first 2 months, it got to like 2,000 followers, which was a huge deal for me at the time. I thought it was insane. And at that point, I'm like, oh, like I should do an event. I should do a party, right?
I remember.
And it's gonna be a free event. I put $1,000 on the table. I lost it all, right? Because it was free.
Yeah.
And I do this event, and only 30 people showed up.
Yeah.
And I was expecting like 200, 300 people. I got people performing for the stage as well. It was a little club area. And I'm like, wow, like I was so upset with not having success with it that I'm like, wow, like this is so sad. But like in the end game, I looked at it and I'm like, hey, like I'm not ready for this right now, but I'm gonna keep working to the point where I can be ready for it and I can get those people moving to that type of event I'd want to do. And I just kept grinding at it. I didn't stop. I continued into it, and then over the summer I slowed down. And it was really a sense of like I wanted to hang out with my friends, and I didn't want to stop hanging out with them. I wanted to create memories with them.
It's a real part-time job.
Like, it really is, because like I'm like trying to sit there, and I'll get into it about how focused I got on it, how much I pushed away my social life to actually grind on it. But over the summer I hung out with my friends more. The traffic slowed down. I got to like 3,000, 4,000 followers, and what's the word 603. Football started, so I didn't post as much, but I actually got a lot of viral videos coming in at the time. So there's this one video from this kid getting tackled at Keene because he was running away from the police officer, and that one blew up. So that one helped out a lot, and I had a lot of viral content coming in at the time. So it kind of canceled out me not being active on it and stuff like that.
It's made up for it.
And during football, I don't know what happened, but I went to bed one night after practice, and the next morning I woke up and I collapsed when I got out of bed because like my leg just collapsed, and I tore my meniscus.
Whoa.
So I have a full disc instead of a C disc. If you guys don't know what that is, a full disc is when you have extra tissue. A C disc is you don't have extra tissue. And so when you have a full disc, you could tear your meniscus like and not know for like 7 years, right?
Damn.
Until you aggravate it the wrong way. So I woke up, I collapsed. I was so devastated because we were going to playoffs. I obviously wasn't starting.
Was
right?
this 2020? Was this last year?
It was 2020. Yeah. It was right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
But I was obviously like upset because I couldn't be there to support like the seniors.
Right.
And I wasn't able to be like be able to help like practice and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I was so upset. I got into this like huge rut with myself where I was just super upset with how I wasn't able to complete the season.
Yeah.
And it really like took a toll on my mental health.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I just didn't want to do anything because
Yeah.
like my knee hurt, I couldn't exercise,
Yeah.
and I wasn't there for my like the team, and I
Yeah.
wasn't able to help out the seniors when I should have been.
And then you had no motivation to do that.
Yeah, I had no motivation to pretty much do anything, like do school, anything like that. And I'm like, you know what? Like, why don't I just try to go to a game? Like one high school game. It was basketball. It was basketball season. It was December 23rd, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, why don't I just try to go to one game? Like, I'll see what happens. I've never shown my face to anybody before.
Right.
I don't promote myself on the pages at all.
Right. It's a separate thing.
Yeah. And so I'm like, why don't I just go to one game and I try to see what happens? So the night where I decided to go to one game, my dad's like, hey, you have to watch the kids for a couple hours. And I was going to go to 2 games that night, right? I was going to go to Salem. I forget who they were playing. But I was just going to go to Wyndham versus Londonderry. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm not going to be able to go to these games because I have to watch my siblings. I was spamming my dad. I'm like, Dad, I can't stay here. I need to go. Because I was saying I was hanging out with Alex because I didn't tell my parents at the time about what I was doing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I looked at it as, I don't want to show them something that isn't successful until it's actually growing.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, if you're trying to do something, you're trying to work on something, they're not going to look at it as a serious thing until it's actually growing.
Until it's a real thing. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And so I'm like, Dad, I need to go. I need to hang out with Alex. I already told him that like I was gonna be there at this time. He's like, okay. He's like, you can go. So I did it like 70 over to Alex Mitchell's house, like the full way. Like I was speeding. I was going so fast. If I got pulled over, I would have been to jail.
Cuffed,
Like I would have gotten so much trouble. But I was going so fast to Alex's. I picked him up, and we went from Brentwood all the way to Salem.
Yeah.
And like I think we were going so fast, dude. It like. If I what I'm saying, if I got pulled over, I would have got arrested. I would have got my license taken away till I was like 20.
Is it because you were so amped up?
I was so amped up, and I was so anxious about the fact that I might be late to something I said I was gonna go do.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And I didn't want to disappoint the people that were following the account because those people were like truly supporting.
Right. And you said you promoted it, right? You're like, I'm gonna be at the game.
I said I'm gonna be at these 2 games, and I just wanted to be there because I said I was going to.
Yeah.
I want to do stuff that I say.
Right.
It's a big part of my life.
Yeah. Totally.
But I drive all the way over. We get to Salem. The game's over, right? So I call this kid that's at the Wyndham game. I forget his name. But I'm like, hey, like how much time's left in the game? He's like, there's 9 minutes. I'm like, okay. It's like a 10-minute drive from Salem to Wyndham, right? From the high schools. Right. We got there in like 6 minutes. Like I went as fast as possible, right? And I call him as we're pulling into the Wyndham driveway, right, to the high school. And I'm like, hey, how much time's left? He's like, there's 3 minutes. He's like, get your ass inside. I'm like, all right, man. I pull in. I go so fast into the spot. I throw the keys at Alex. I leave him in the car because I was sprinting inside, right?
You needed that content.
I needed to be there for at least 3 minutes of the game.
Right.
And I sprint inside. And as I'm like walking, I like look around. As I'm walking towards the gym doors, that like, the kids in the crowd are like looking at me because supposedly before they were getting hyped up for other kids, like other guys walking in because they thought it was me.
Oh, really?
So so
like
I didn't know this at the time, but so when I walked in, like both crowds, like Londonderry and Wyndham, were looking at me, and I'm like, and I just went like this, right? I'm not even kidding. I went like that. They were like clapping and shit,
That's
and like
hilarious.
it was a timeout too. So people were like, why are they like why are they like getting excited over a timeout right now? And I went like this, and they were just so excited when I showed up. I'm like, wow, like I need to continue to do this because at the time
saw the impact.
I saw the impact, and I didn't want to do it at that time, and I want to be like, okay, like last chance, like let's see what happens. And it turned out that people were excited that I would show up to a basketball game.
That's an awesome story.
And from that point on, it was just straight grind.
Yeah.
Like I only hung out with 3 people from then all the way until COVID, right? And those people were Matt Campfield, right? And then it went Clem Streck, and then Charlie Dupfield for like 2 games or whatever. And each part of my week would consist of me going to a game, any game, a hockey game or a basketball game, right? And that's what I would get excited for. Like on the weekends,
like, oh, I'm gonna go film.
I wouldn't look forward to anything else. I wasn't hanging out with people. Like during that time, I went, like I grinded and I made sure that I was doing what I wanted to do. At that time, I was doing really well in school as well because I was just so focused.
You were just lasered in.
The only thing I was focused on was going to those games and was to grow the page. And that was like really good. And a lot of people say that like to be successful, you need to also have like certain aspects of your life in control, like have a good social life,
a balance,
like a balance of everything. But during that time, I just said screw it. Like I'm not like I had like all my friends that I usually used to hang out with like outside of school. Those were my school friends. Now. You get what I'm saying? Because you got your school friends, and then you got your friends you hang outside.
It became work,
school.
work.
It became work, and it didn't.
I admire that honestly, but like I get what you're saying.
It didn't affect my social life in the long run, right? It was worth it because. Like all those kids, all my friends, obviously they're gonna razz on you for like trying to like even the podcast. I bet you some people are like, oh, really gonna do a podcast? It's just like right?
And, exactly.
And so like
and a lot of it's just in my head too. I just think like people, maybe they will say that. So then it's like that resistance.
And that's that's what happened with What's the Word at the beginning. And so like I'm like I love you guys, I love my friends, but I need to like have a clear path. I need no one getting in the way of the tunnel. You know?
And no one else. Because a lot of people down here, and when you have a vision, it's like you see it, no one else really can, and then you pursued it. And
exactly.
I totally can see that.
And so I grinded.
That's my cat. Like, oh, my bad. But
you're fine. I grinded. I only hung out with like 3 friends during that like from December to like March like 20th. And it was so beneficial because I was dialed in. I was ready to go. And I didn't let anyone get in my way. And
that's awesome.
When that happened, like it blew up.
Like, I remember when
in January,
like 8K, 9K,
it
10K,
went from 3,000 like viewers on Snapchat to 31,000 viewers in 24 hours.
Damn.
And the thing is though, Dan, that was by accident.
Oh yeah.
So like on Snapchat, I do private fight stories, right? I was doing that for a while, and I didn't want to post them on the main story because they just kept getting taken down, and I don't want the account to get banned, you know. So I'm like, hey, like, if you want to be added to the private fight story, like, mention me in your story. And I didn't think that many people wanted to be added to, right? And it went from 9 a.m. on a Friday, right? No, it was Monday. Sorry, it was 9 a.m. on a Monday. I was in SST. I posted that, and I'm like, okay, it got the regular views, but it got regular views faster, like 3,000 in like 6 hours. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I went to 7th period. It's like, okay, 5,000 viewers in like all the way to 7th period. I'm like, wow, like this is actually like that's great. Like that's
worked out.
That's like 2,000 more people. I was so excited about that. I didn't even care. I went to weight room after that, and once I got out of weight room, it went from like 5,000 to 14,000. So I was flipping my shit
Cloud 9
when I got out of like weight room. I was screaming in my car, like so excited because I'm like, wow, like I actually blew it up. And I'm like, oh, like 14,000, that's great. Like I didn't think of anything more. And the next morning it said 31,000. And I'm like, holy shit. Like I'm like, fuck yeah. Like I know what I'm like. Your eyes just what you're like, this is it. This is it. And like it wasn't a time like celebration, right? I obviously was excited. But it was more of a time like I need to keep going
because this is real.
Like I need to keep firing. You know, I need to keep punching the punching bag. Like I needed to keep going.
That's
and
super cool.
I took that and I just kept working on it, and it grew. And then COVID hit, right? And a lot of people use that like as an excuse, or like not as an excuse, but like as a like, oh, what if like what would life be like if there wasn't COVID? And like I hate thinking like that.
Right, because whatever happened.
Because like look where you are now. Right? Are you like happy with what you've done in the past year and a half?
Right.
Like I wouldn't want to change where I am today or who I am today for just not having COVID. Like that's such a big thing in someone's life
because it made you. You learned a lot. We learned a lot.
We learned a lot. And people wish like, oh, I wish that didn't happen. Right. I wish COVID didn't happen. I wish we were able to finish our junior year. I'm like, fuck no. Like why would I want to change who I am now? For like
a hypothetical version.
Version of myself. When I know this version is better. And during COVID, I'm like, all right, we need to expand because I'm like, what am I gonna do for like, we didn't know how many months it was gonna go into, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I gonna do for like 2 months, right? And I'm like, all right, we need to expand. So I like post on the What's the Word 603 story. I'm like, hey, anyone from Maine want to help me work on What's the Word Maine?
Yeah.
And I have this kid named Theo LaFrance, right?
Okay, yeah.
He calls me up. I love him. He still works for me now.
Yeah.
He's so energetic on the phone. Like, he just loves to talk.
Was it when you had that Google form and you were like, fill it out?
Yeah. And I was talking with him, like, holy shit, like, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, this is someone who I want to be part of my team.
Yeah.
And Theo is, like, probably one of my closest friends.
That's really cool.
And Theo...
He's from Maine?
Yeah, he's from Maine.
Okay.
He's nearby Saco.
Okay, yeah.
But he, like, helped me understand Maine and understand, like, what people do up in Maine. Because obviously, I don't fucking know. It's different than New Hampshire, even though we're so close, right?
Yeah, it's different vibe.
The Instagram account went from 50 followers to 3,000 followers in a week.
Damn,
on
dude.
What's the Word Maine.
I kind of remember that. Yeah, What's the Word? That was right. I do remember that. That's crazy.
And then
just from promoting it and then just building it.
The Snapchat went from 200 viewers to 20,000 viewers.
That's
in
crazy.
The course of 24 hours.
That's insane. So it was just, and was it all like kind of word of mouth? People just like,
it was word of mouth, and I did the same methods that I did for What's the Word 603 because I knew which ones worked and which ones didn't. And I needed to see if this was repeatable so I could do it in every single state, right? And once that happened, I'm like, holy shit, like, I could do this all across, like, every state in America. I'm like, why stop now?
Yeah.
Like, why should I not halt myself? And Theo, like, he's at UMaine right now, so he really helped me understand the college audience, right? Because, you know, I was a high school audience and stuff like that, but Theo was up in college, so he helped me understand the college audience and the mindset, and he really grew the college audience to the point where now we can talk and we can see, like, okay, we need this for high school, we need this for college.
Oh, because different strategies.
And if we get this is the perfect mix. Yeah. And guess what? Like, we're going to have a huge page.
Yeah.
And with our pages, we made sure never to post ourselves, right? We don't promote our own names. We don't cancel people.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I hate.
That turns people off to something.
Yes,
when it's supposed to be just like a, you know, they're trying to make it more than what it is.
Yeah, we don't cancel people. We don't do political statements. We don't do social justice stuff at all. We don't do any of that. The thing is, though, it's because it's like, it's in the name. Like, we're only for the state.
Yeah,
we're not going to post anything else.
Bipartisan. Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to be.
I don't want to pick any sides.
People,
And the thing is, though, it's like you come to the page, you follow the page for what we post. You don't follow the page for what we think.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
that's totally true.
Like, no one cares.
If people want to conversate, they'll do it in the comments.
Yeah, do it in the comments, man, and it'll boost the post, which is what I love.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but no one gives two shits about, like, what my stance is on anything, like, in the political spectrum or whatever, right?
Which is great. Like, that's
it's awesome. And it's like, I definitely don't want to post. Like, I don't want to post that on What's the Word, because it would ruin the account.
Yeah, and divide everybody in half. It just it'd be a mess.
I want to post like only New Hampshire content or only Maine content.
Yeah,
we don't post anything mainstream. Like, have you seen one like mainstream thing on like the feed?
No, it's all unique. It's all like it's niche to like New Hampshire. You know what I mean?
Only to New Hampshire, where the kids are like in that town, like, oh, I know that kid. Like, he was in one of my classes with me, you know?
And look at you getting his ass beat.
Like, exactly.
Like, and people repost it, and it's just like, it's more personal versus like a Barstool posting something, something random.
And no one wants another Barstool.
Yeah.
Right? Because Barstool's, like, I love Barstool. Yeah. That's something I love.
Yeah.
But no one wants another Barstool.
Right. Because they don't need, the gap is filled. Like, the
gap is already filled for the college audience and sports gambling and whatever. And I know no one wants another Barstool, so why would I try to be like Barstool when I could be like, What's the Word?
Yeah.
You know, like not even like What's the Word Mass. I'm just saying, like, what we're like not like founded on, but like what our statement is. It's like, we only post
the vision statement,
state comments.
Yeah.
Like not comments, videos and content, right? Yeah. And that's what we're gonna stick true to.
Yeah.
We're not gonna post anything else. We're not gonna like try to like promote ourselves, things like that. We're only gonna stay true to what we say. Yeah. And I think we've done a great job at that.
Totally. Yeah.
And like recently, you remember the Exeter prom, like the markings with the Fox News clip I posted?
I remember, that
people got so mad about the Fox News clip and saying that we're unpolitical. The thing is, though, it's like we want you to do that because we're not political, right?
Yeah.
It's like it literally gave you information.
Yeah.
But like people in the comments commented and it boosted the actual post.
You never had your stance on it. You just posted the clip, right? And it was just like, look at this.
And we told you the content of the post.
Yeah.
Like whenever we like say something like that, we didn't like take a stance at
Yeah,
all, right? We let people in the comments argue it out, and it made the post go even
post
bigger.
was big, right?
It was a big post, and
remember.
people from our school even got mad from the post, and I'm like. I'm not gonna say who, but they're like, why would you post that? And I'm like, I explained to them why, because it would just make people mad, and they'd comment on it and they'd argue about it. And he's like, oh, holy shit. He's like, I just looked at it now again, like from what you said. It's like you didn't take a stance. Yeah. Like you just gave the content of what
unbiased.
happened.
It was just like, this is a clip from this. Yeah. And totally. That's what I saw when I first saw it, and then I just see people going ape shit in the comments, and I'm like,
it was hilarious.
Because I don't look at it as like a political thing. I'm looking at it as like engagements are going up.
Exactly. And if you have that mindset, Dan, like you can like in the long term, like, you'll conquer the world. Because like when I'm on TikTok right now, like which everyone sits on their phone and goes on TikTok, right? When I'm on TikTok, I gather information and I gather like, oh, look what this person's doing.
Yeah, like and this joke is getting this engagement. Yeah,
and like, oh, this sound is getting this engagement. Yeah. And these are trends going on. I look at it like that. Yeah. A lot of people just go on TikTok to fill time. Yeah. And that's like one of the things I don't like about social media. Yeah. Even though I'm like, I run pages that are on social media. Is that like we post content that is for the person, right? And then a lot of people post content that like waste time. Yeah. And just filling time. Right. That's true. And like that's the most valuable asset. Yeah. Like if you could take away someone else's time while you're using like your time to excel yourself, then you're ahead of them. Right. A lot of people think social media, it's like, oh, it's free. It's like, no, you're spending hours of your time. That's money. That's a lot. Time is everything. Time is everything. Social media takes a lot of people's time. You're allowing those people that are posting and that you're looking at to get ahead of you. Yeah. And like it's and then fill space in your head because you maybe get offended or you're just like, oh, like this pissed me off. And then it's like when you take more of an unbiased and more just like objective look at things, it's like, oh, this is working. He said this. People are saying this about that. It's just like, you have more of an analytical mind. And I think that's a lot more valuable than just filling time. Like, you're totally right. Exactly. Yeah, we were just kind of talking about, I just took a break real quick, but we were talking about, how do you balance social media? I mean, social media addiction is a phrase that gets thrown around a lot in the media and stuff. And parents are like, oh, you're addicted to your phones. But it's like, for someone like you and me who are, our job or like our passion is to create these things through social media. My question is like, how do you balance life and like you were saying social life with also like not just on your phone all the time, or just even when it's like you're not on your phone, you're thinking about ways I can like, oh, I'm gonna post this later so I can get this. So I was wondering what you're like at this point now, looking back on what progress you've made and whatever mistakes you've made or things you've done right, like how do you balance that like today? So like with a social life and stuff like that, like I've really found like in the past like 2 years from doing it when you have free time. Yeah. So throughout the day, like you were given time always to be able to have free time and you kind of waste it. Yeah. So like I'd say like even sit on the toilet, dude. Like, that's like free time right there. That's what I look at. Yeah. If I'm in the car, that's free time as well. Yep. Like when I'm with my friends, like I don't really go on my phone and I'm not really like, oh, what should I do for what's the word? Yeah. I'm like hanging out with my friends. But if I need to post something, then I will post it. But that doesn't take away from the time that I'm spending with my friends, right? Because you just take like a 5-minute walk. It takes like, I'm like, oh, guys, I got to post this real quick. Yeah. And then like that really doesn't happen a lot. Yeah. But when it does, I do it and then I continue on with what we're doing. Yeah. But you really got to realize what points in your day do you have that you'll always have for free time. Right. Because everyone has free time. Mm. And you just got to realize where it is. Yeah. And you got to take those moments and be like, okay, I got to do this right now. Instead of just like wasting time scrolling. Yeah. Or like, so instead of sitting in bed for 30 minutes or like even an hour, like when you wake up, like it's like, all right, how about I sit in bed and like I work on stuff, right? Because it's in your
right
hands.
There. Yeah,
it's right there.
Supercomputer.
And a lot of people use it to like watch other people's content, stuff like that. But for you or me, like we're using it to like grow something. Yeah, and we're taking data. Like you know what I mean? Like we're trying to take notes and look at what other people are doing to waste people's time so that we can waste more people's time. Exactly. You know? No, you're totally right. And it sounds like kind of fucked up, but it's the game. Like that's life. That's social media, and it's like, how can I make this person pay more attention to me or my content versus like someone else's content? And then but the way you learn that is by seeing what works for them or what works for you. So it's funny how it just like kind of goes in a circle and they're looking at you and like the same there's thing. A difference from like wasting someone's time and like giving them knowledge. Providing entertainment. So like in your past like what was it, 2 podcasts? You've been really giving people knowledge instead of wasting their time. Yeah. Instead of like stupid shit that people do all the time, right? Yeah. And I don't really like for my brand itself, it's more of entertainment, and it's for more of those like free time. It's for that person's free time.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, like this is the BG versus Exeter.
Yeah, so it's
lacrosse
entertainment, free
championship.
entertainment, right?
It's entertainment. It's not really this like miscellaneous shit that like a lot of people do to like grow their brands.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was like little, it was like 24-hour Walmart challenge.
Yeah.
Like
The vlogs
try to
and
hide in the
shit,
toilets.
Yeah.
Or like the what is it called? Shit. Toilet paper area.
Yeah.
And like paper towels, bro.
Yeah.
It's like that wasted my time.
That's just garbage going in your
garbage.
head. Yeah.
That gives me
You're
no
totally
knowledge
right.
except how to loaf off of Walmart.
Yeah,
you know?
literally. Yeah, it's like and then you watch 25 minutes of that and you're like you gain nothing from it.
And it's
besides
like
wasted
when I
time.
watched like your past 2 podcasts, like I learned a lot about like the people in it,
Yeah.
but I also learned about how certain people look at life.
Yeah.
And I always love to see how people react to things, but also how like what gets them ticking and what gets them to be motivated.
No, yeah, I've been thinking a lot about like how much your childhood or like your upbringing affects what motivates you and what kind of pushes your buttons, pisses you off, whatever. And it's so interesting to see like I'm sure since we have such like kind of analytical, I don't know if I'd say analytical brains, but kind of just like it interests us to have this thing where like we're growing something and we're providing something for people. And I just wonder how like where we were taught or where we first found interest in that, because I've always made videos. I've always loved making content. Like since I was literally like
I've known
10.
that for a while.
Yeah, I've been doing that like for so long. So I just wonder, and other people just like don't. Like other people are just consumers of it, so it's like
they just want. I don't get why people don't want to go out there and own something of their own. That's
literally.
That's kind of like what I was brought up on, and it was like really my parents. Like growing up, like I lived in 2 households. So my parents were divorced ever since I was 2 months old.
Yeah.
So I've always known it. It's fine. It's whatever. 2 Christmases, man.
Yeah, 2 Christmases.
Bro.
It's a good way to look at it.
But like growing up, like I was always taught like 2 different things, right? But it was both beneficial because my mom like taught me compassion or whatever, and like she taught me how to be sharing and like care for certain people and care for things, and my dad taught me how to be motivated and how to be like proud of myself, and like have pride,
right?
Because if you don't have pride in yourself, you don't have the confidence that you can do it, you're not gonna do it.
Be successful.
There's in my book, there's a difference between like anxiety, like being worried about something, because eventually you do it, right? And there's a difference between not having confidence in yourself. Because, like, if you don't have confidence in yourself, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you'll be stuck in where you are forever.
But if you, like, I feel like anxiety is a tool, like, of what I've grown up with. Like, oh, I'm just worried.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I'm actually going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be
care
like,
about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to, like, sit back and, like, I'm not confident in myself, so I shouldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm worried about it, so I know I should, like, I'm going to be able to, like, do it.
That's a very good way to look at it. Because, I mean, I've had anxiety. I've had stuff.
Yeah.
But then sometimes there's times where I can not trick myself, like tell myself like, no, I have anxiety because I care about this and I want it to go really well. And that's actually an advantage, like you were saying. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna have more passion towards it. And
it's like I'm actually doing it. Yeah. So like I'm glad I worried because I have the confidence in myself to be able to do it.
Yeah, totally.
Because if you didn't have that pride or confidence, then you wouldn't be doing it in the first place, and you just would be sitting there. And
you're totally
for
right.
me, it's like I've been having conversations a lot because I'm obviously heading off to college. And me and my buddies have all been talking like about life and stuff like that, and what makes you who you are. Yeah. And I said recently to one of my buddies, I'm not gonna say what, but I said you need to put so much fear in yourself that you're not gonna have a second chance, that you just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like, if you aren't afraid of failing, or not that, if you are afraid that you won't have another chance to do something in your life, then you're gonna do it. Because you only get one life. Yeah. There's not like. Yeah, you don't have all this time, man.
You only have so much time. Yeah, exactly. You only have so much time, and there's so much available to us. Today, so much information. You can learn so much, and you can do so much. And I have a huge fear of regret and regretting. Yeah. More regretting not doing something than doing it. So that's why I just have this fire, kind of just
it's like
do it.
It's like, would you rather regret doing something or not doing it?
Yeah, and then
I'd rather regret doing something because that means I did it.
Yeah, and I learned from it. Yeah.
At least I wasn't like a pussy and I didn't do it,
100%.
Obviously, you can't put that all the ways into
you can't do that all the time.
You have to be smart with it, and you really need to be motivated to get what you want done. In life, I have one goal, right? Only one, and that's to be a good father.
Yeah,
and build a legacy for my family for generations, right?
Yeah.
But anything I accomplish until then, is just helping me get to that goal.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I found
and putting
that
you more equipped.
yeah.
More equipped for that. Yeah.
And like I found that since I only have one goal, I don't have to like I'm not stressing about like doing like obviously I'm gonna get a lot of stuff done and I'm gonna do it, but I'm thinking about it in the grand scheme of things, like it's just building me up higher and higher so I can accomplish my goal.
That's very smart. Yeah.
Instead of people like goal orientating, having like 10 goals, like, oh, I want to do this today.
Yeah.
And like they're little things, right?
Yeah.
A goal should be, in my books, something huge.
Yeah.
That like you work so hard to.
Yeah.
That like once you accomplish it, you're like, wow, everything I did in my life helped me accomplish what I wanted to.
That's I feel like that's a very smart and very mature thing to like a mindset to have. Like a lot of people don't realize, I mean, so many kids our age are just like so stuck on in the moment and like thinking like, what am I going to do in an hour? What am I doing today? But they're not thinking about how am I going to set myself up for a successful future and a happy future.
Yeah.
And then when they get to that point, they don't really have I don't want to say social skills, but just like life experience that led them to
like the communication.
Yeah, like the communicate. Yeah, totally. To make them, give them well equipped to be like a successful person, a good father, stuff like that.
Like legacy building.
Right, legacy building, 100%. So that's why I feel like, obviously, it kind of sucks that it'd be nice to be just want to go and party and have all this fun.
Yeah.
I totally get where people are like that, but I just have this like constant fear, like I said, of regret and like being like, I can do something, so why not do it and why not get better at it and then be successful?
Yeah, but it's like if you do go out and party, that's not a bad thing, right? Like you need to be able to have moderation, and you need to be like, wow, okay, I went out and I did this, right? Mm-hmm. Say go out partying, right? And like I know it's like people look at it as a setback, but it's like, dude, who gives a fuck? Like I'm still gonna do the shit I'm gonna do, and it's not like I'm not going out on the weekends with my friends. I'm like, yo, let's find a party, right? It's like you go out and you can do the things you want to do, right? Partying, whatever. But you gotta still have that one goal. Yeah. And like you have to still think of it as like, oh, I accomplished all these things, or I did these things to get where I am. Yeah. That's
that's a very mature perspective and a very good perspective. I'd say that's like a correct perspective on how things should be. You know what I mean? But I just had a question for you. I'm really interested to know that like what you for a career, what you're going to pursue and like what your plans are. Cause I don't really know much about what your plans are from here on out. So like, you want to just give me some...
So I'm going to Utah State University. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm leaving on the 18th. I'm driving out.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I'm going to try to major in finance. Okay. I always want to like own something of my own.
Yeah.
And like I said, I want to be able to like be a good father and create a legacy upon generations, like my family. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have like a career path chosen like that. Oh, like I want to do this. Like I want to be like in pharmaceutical sales, or I want to be the VP sales of urology, like whatever.
Yeah,
right?
like something specific.
Yeah, but I know that like I'm gonna try to do something that like I can build upon and that I will own. And like, what's the word? I would love to continue to do that and like own that and grow that into something like Barstool. That's kind of where my head is. Yeah, but I'm not like shutting out everything else.
Yeah, totally. Like,
because you can't do that. Because if you do, then that was your one go. And it didn't work out.
That's where I'm at with my DSARM YouTube and this podcast and stuff. Where it's like it'd be amazing if this stuff took off and I could do this stuff full time. But worst case scenario, it's just knowledge and I gained experience and I did something that it was like I want to do it, so I did it. So it's like something I can be proud of. Where it's like I wasn't scared of doing it like you were saying before. So
and it's not like it's gonna blow up in a couple seconds.
Yeah,
it's like
so if it does,
it could take like 4 years. Yeah, but like then you have like wow, I'm getting good traction. So like you could still do a career and you could still do this and like even though this is like what's the word's a passion for me, right? But it doesn't mean it still can't be a job. Yeah, like I want it to coincide. Yeah, I want to love what I'm doing. Yeah, and so like you could do the same. Like you could have your own job, but this could be your passion, but also could be like a job. Yeah,
yeah, totally, dude. Damn, we think very similar. I don't talk to many people who are like in the social, like Connor Kendrick's one of them, but he doesn't really. It's still different. Like he did his like the surfing account.
Yeah,
and stuff
he does a lot of like e-commerce and drop shipping.
Yeah, which is I'm kind of out of that realm.
I've flown away from that since sophomore year, but it's something he understands way more than I do.
I mean, I asked him a few weeks ago. I want him to teach me about drop shipping and stuff like that because that's really interesting to me. And then there is a piece of it that comes in with promoting it and like on social media and stuff. So that's kind of right up my alley. But yeah, dude, like there's not a lot of kids who are like trying to build something, especially on social media, because it's like. I don't know what it is. It's just some people just want to sit back and have fun. Like I get it, sit back and have fun.
It's the passive mindset.
Yeah,
it's
passive, right.
It's
right.
like I'm gonna say, like I talk about this with my friends all the time. It's like you're either passive or you're violent.
Sure.
And the violent sense is like you're not like going out and you're punching holes in the wall, right?
Yeah.
It's more of like you're attracted to something that's like dangerous and that interests you, so
Yeah.
you want to go out and do it. And a lot of people have passive mindsets where they're like, oh, I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna just do what I'm told to do,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna go out and try to do something that I may be interested in, right? But if you have the violent mindset, like you're gonna want to go out and you're gonna want to go cause interactions. You're gonna want to go butt heads, and you want to go like grow as a person.
Yeah. So it's like a wolf versus sheep mindset type thing. Yeah.
Or it's the sheep. It's the shepherd.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah,
shepherd versus the wolf.
Yeah, you're right. That makes sense.
And like I'm not saying to be a wolf.
Yeah.
Right. Because obviously that's completely different.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying you need to have motivation to go out and do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And you need to be proud of what you're doing.
Yeah. Right. And then not let people try to sway your opinion and stuff.
But if you're a sheep, right, you're told like what you should be doing and you're fine with it.
Yeah.
You're fine with the fact that like, oh, I can't do this because like I may not be smart enough.
Yeah, and then you
like,
set up those barriers in your head, and that's how you live the rest of your life. Yeah, that's like a big thing. I almost called this podcast Clones because Childish Gambino has a line in one of his songs that says, fuck what these clones think.
Yeah.
It's talking about how just people just want to go with they just want to be like everyone else. They're like, I want to be cool like them so I can have this. But that's not how it works. You have to be your own person to be happy and successful.
And it's not saying you can't have role models.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But like,
yeah.
Both my parents are role models in my life.
Yeah.
But I take the good things.
Yeah.
And I look at the bad things that have happened.
Yeah.
It's not like bad. But
yeah,
like,
but
I looked at
at
the cons and I looked at like say their relationship, for example.
Right.
I look at their relationship. I'm like, oh wow, I know what not to get into.
Yeah.
Right. And I know what's a good relationship now.
Yeah.
And I take the great things that they've taught me in my entire life,
Yeah.
like who I am today, which is I think a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna continue to grow with it.
Yeah.
But you have to look at like role models as people that like you take the good things and you look at the bad things.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I know what not to do.
Yeah, dude, that's a phenomenal mindset. Yeah, because like a big role model of mine is J. Cole, right?
Yeah.
Because of more of his perspective on life and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, I don't want to be a rapper. Like, I'm not going to do that. But it's like, I just really like his perspective on life and what he says and how he's down to earth. So it's like, and then same with my parents, like taking the good and then, you know, kind of putting, or like acknowledging the bad or acknowledging the negative and saying like, okay, I know they do that. I'm not going to do that. Or I'm going to do this better. So that's great. I totally think the same way. But yeah, so I guess we got like 10 more minutes probably if you want. So like,
yeah, I'm good.
Another thing I'm wondering about, and I don't know if you've thought much about this, but how big social media is now, and like, what's it going to be in like 2 to 5 years? Like, what do you think it'll be?
Honestly, like, how big it is now, like, I use like a lot of social media, like, say not for business wise, communication purposes.
Yeah.
So like Snapchat, I don't really talk to my friends on Snapchat.
Yeah.
Right? It's more people I just get to know.
Right.
And if I'm going to talk to my friends, I'm going to talk to them in person or on the phone.
Yeah.
But I feel like social media as like a whole right now is just going to keep growing. Like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like keep growing, like people getting to know other people.
Yeah.
And like, I know so many people from like, I met them on social media.
Yeah.
Right? And that's more from when I was younger. But then I grew up and I'm like, oh, I still know these kids.
Yeah.
And it's more of like it's networking. Man.
Networking. That's what I was going to say. Networking.
Like,
yeah.
It's networking, and I think social media in like say like the next 10 years or 6 years or whatever, it's gonna be like doubled or like even quadrupled about how big the numbers are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the numbers are still small.
Like, no, they're still in the grand scheme of things. Social media is small. Like it really is. Like
but,
for the most part,
it's gonna get even bigger.
Yeah.
And it's gonna get even more immersive.
Yeah, I agree. I totally immersive is the perfect word for that because like it seems like people are really addicted to their phones. They're always on there, like they're just constantly there. But it's like, it wasn't like that. It was a lot less even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And even way less even 10 years ago. So it's like it's moving so rapidly where it's like, this is the time to get in on it.
Like
and
I know,
take
like
advantage
I see like little 5-year-olds with like an iPad and stuff.
I cringe
and
when I see that, dude.
I hate that
Yeah.
because it's like, I know like doing that, it's just like stimulating the brain. It's not letting it grow.
It's exactly 100%. Like I notice in my own personal habits, like I wake up every morning, first thing I do, check my phone.
Yeah.
And I get a little like, notifications. Oh, I got a text. Like kind of get what's it called? Like a dopamine.
Yeah,
hit.
dopamine hit, right?
And I'm like, that's probably not good that I have this thing where it's like I need to check my phone or I feel off.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find a
but
balance.
Like since you're trying to grow something and you have an analytical like view on social media, you should look at it as what's new, like
taking data,
like okay, what happened? Like for me, I know I have a team, right? So when I wake up in the morning, I look at the phone and see like what the fuck happened in
Yeah.
case anything did
Yeah,
happen,
yeah.
or if anything we should get hop on. And it's more the sense like I'm seeing like what we can do for the day
More objectively,
instead
yeah,
of
yeah.
who texted me at fucking 4:00 in the morning that I wasn't awake for that I should have responded
That's
to.
that's a good point, because I get, I'll tell myself sometimes where I'm like, all right, I'm doing this, I'm like taking in data, whatever, and then I end up just like scrolling, and
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, gotta get out of that mindset, because it's like I want to be more of someone pushing a product, myself being the product, or my the podcast being the product versus the consumer, because I
Yeah.
feel like the consumer can sometimes be like we said, the sheep, or like if depending on the situation, but yeah,
It's just like characterless people. Like,
Yeah.
they don't like. I feel like a lot of people that I meet that like aren't my friends, or like that have the passive mindset. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not interested in them because
Yeah.
they don't provide anything to like. They're not showing me
Yeah.
anything, right?
Yeah.
They're not showing me what their interests are. They're not goal setting. But I guess like we're at that age right now where a lot of kids are just like having fun.
Yeah.
But I'm like all the time I'm goal setting, like in the sense of I want to be a great father, and here's what I'm going to do to get there.
Yeah.
And everything else I accomplish just help me
Like
finish that
short-term
goal.
goals and then
It's
going into the
a
large
big
goal.
part of me is wanting to build a huge legacy
Yeah.
for my family and their families.
That's really cool. I've never heard that perspective from a kid. Like, even myself, I've never really thought about building the legacy thing.
Yeah.
And did your dad kind of instill that in you? Or?
So like my dad, like his story is a great story. Like if you were gonna have an adult on the podcast,
Have your dad?
it'd be him.
Your dad's the
Like,
man. I remember him. Yeah.
He has a great story. Like it's really motivational in my books, right?
Yeah.
But he just raised me in the sense of like the violent mindset, right?
Yeah.
Wanting to
Go
go
get
out
it.
and interact and like letting me be able to experience things on my own, but also like he's the bumpers,
Yeah.
right? And it's like a bowling alley.
Right.
You're rolling
So
the
he's setting
ball,
boundaries.
and so
Yeah.
he's setting the boundaries. And if I go too far out, he'll tell me when I'm too far out.
Yeah.
But in the meanwhile, like he's gonna help me get to that
Yeah.
goal. And that's like he recently told me that, like, because like growing up, that's how I am. And I
Yeah.
have a little brother, right? So he's the bumper. He's the bumpers for my little brother right
Yeah.
now. And once he gets to 18 and he's off to college, my dad will have his goal complete.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. That's really cool. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about, I think, or like I don't know. So I noticed that you're not as active on the New Hampshire one. Why is that? Why haven't
It's
you
just
been
because
on
more
that?
of like I'm expanding, and I know that one by heart. And since I'm going out to Utah, I'm like training someone to
Yeah.
take over it.
Okay.
And
Are you building on
Utah?
Yeah.
I'm doing all that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it too
Yeah,
much.
but we don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to expose anything.
But
in the works. It's in the
yeah,
works.
it's in the works. But I'm training him to like do what I did, because when I was in like going to games and stuff, like I was dialed in, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Like if people came up to me and asked me who I was, I'd be like, no. I'm like,
like,
sorry.
content.
I'm like, sorry. Like I'm watching
I'm
the
working,
game.
yeah.
And like people would after some games like go and look me up and like find out who I was, which I don't care.
Yeah.
But like it's like I try to separate who I am from the brand.
Yeah.
And that's something I've worked so hard to that I want to make sure that person does the same thing. That's a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
No self promotion, right?
I'd say that's where our two social media paths are different, where it's like mine's more like a personal brand thing, my baseball and stuff, and then me being like my face and all that, like my personality on the podcast. So it's very interesting that like it's so similar, and then we kind of have our two different things, which it's just so cool how there's like different paths you can go down on, even just on social media. You can do so many different things.
Yeah, and it's not saying that you can't do something like I
right.
do,
Yeah,
right?
I could totally do that.
Like,
I mean, I did that with the baseball account for a little bit.
You could run something and not have your name connected to it,
Yeah.
and like just grow it for what it is.
Yeah.
And
that might be my next goal. I think that's what I'm
yeah,
gonna do, but-
it's like it's super cool to see, because it's like it's not connected to who I am, right? It's something that I like to do.
Yeah,
and
that's so.
It just makes me so happy doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Well, I think this is honestly like the best pod. I mean, the other ones were great, but this is, I feel like this one has so much different opinions, and it's just like we covered a ton of different bases, and it was great. So I'm really happy you came on, dude.
Well, thanks for having me on, man. I loved it.
It's gonna be awesome. Follow What's the Word New Hampshire, and then he has all the other ones too. So you'll see those soon.
Yep.
If they're not there yet. So yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, dude. Is there any emoji? So I say at the end, like, if drop an emoji if you watch the whole thing. What emoji do you want people to comment if they watch the whole thing?
Oh, dude, I need to think about this one.
It's important. This is important.
This is super important. I'm actually gonna look right now, because I have emojis that I use. I just don't know what they're called.
Yeah,
1 second.
Like my mom will comment. Like it was the lion emoji, then the devil one. And my mom's commented both times.
The slot symbols.
The slot symbols. Slot symbols right here. Drop a comment if you watch the whole thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next Wednesday for the next episode.